Right now we're reading Leaving and Returning by Abe Zucca. We're going to start off with the first axioms of finding and conducting life. The question of inhabitation. To ask how you inhabit the world is already to inhabit it in a certain way. The grammar of being is not passive or active, but middle. The tense of participation. The world does not stand before us like a stage. It arrives through our gesture, our sleep, our errors. Each handshake, kiss, and hesitation is an ontological event. We are composed of influences, genetic, linguistic, ethical, cosmic, whose sum we mistake for the self. Finding oneself is the perpetual astonishment that one has already been found. I'm going to repeat that. Finding oneself is the perpetual astonishment that one has already been found. We go on to section 2, the conduct of life. To conduct life is to be conducted by it. To conduct life is to be conducted by it, to be drawn, to be curious, and abandoned in that curiosity. Conduct conducts. It channels currents, makes circuits of habit and desire. Our deeds are not expressions of a pre-existing soul, but modulations of the world's current through us. Modulations of the world's current through us. Life is electric. Every resistance intensifies the charge. Where the world resists, character appears. The hand that trembles teaches more than the will that commands. We go on the middle voice. If you guys have any questions, I can respond. The middle voice of existence. Between I act and I am acted upon lies the truer verb. I am amid acting. We neither author nor suffer our lives. We co-compose them. The self is not a subject, but a syntax. Language itself inhabits us. We merely tune its resonances. To live is to conjugate verbs without knowing their origin. The middle voice is the moral mood of being. Reflection and the already begun. No reflection inaugurates existence. It only discovers it ongoing. Philosophy, like the owl of Minerva, wakes to the dusk of action. We do not begin to inhabit the world. We awaken mid-sentence. The self is retrospective. Its first act is to remember what it never decided. Reflection is the world's echo returning through thought. We call self-knowledge is the world's knowledge of itself through us. The moral space and its eclipse. Every bearing implies an orientation toward the good. Yet the good itself is advantageous. An evolution, not a foundation. Moral frameworks are sedimented astonishments. There are moments when moral space thins and astonishment becomes our only compass. I'm going to repeat that. There are moments when moral space thins and astonishment becomes our only compass. In such thresholds, abandonment is not despair but grace. To live meaningfully may require surrendering the meaning of meaning. Abandonment. The way of life is wonderful. It is by abandonment. Abandonment is not lost, but the world's trust falling back into itself. To abandon is to allow conduct to conduct. Every act of letting go is a new conductivity of being. Moral life begins in obligation. Spiritual life begins in relinquishment. Abandonment is the secret continuity of all transformation. Language and conductivity. We find ourselves in language as lightning finds the ground. To speak is to transmit forces older than speech. Every phrase carries its ancestry of use. We are never the first to say what we say. Words are events of inhabitation, thresholds between worlds. The sentence is the smallest form of conduct. The good writer is a conduit, not a commander. You guys like this or what? I'm trying this out. I like my writing. I'm putting it into audio. We'll see what happens to this. I hope to create an amazing cult, if you will, a church, a group of disciples that will annihilate me, and I will cease to exist, but the disciples will continue the words. They will continue the teachings. Partiality and fragment. Every finding is a fragment of the world's own finding. To be a fragment is not a defect, but a privilege of perspective. The whole can only appear through partial eyes. I am a fragment, and this is a fragment of me. The fragment is the only complete form left to modern consciousness. Meaning resides in the joints, not the totality. Beyond moral space. Spiritual meaninglessness is the fear that astonishment is not enough. But astonishment is enough. It is the pulse before interpretation. Affirmation without a framework is life's own signature. To say yes without knowing to what is the highest courage. Let me reread that. I didn't read in the right tempo. To say yes without knowing is what is the highest courage. So say yes without knowing. Every life worth living is lived beyond its reason. The conduct of life is the art of finding oneself where one already is. The conduct of life is the art of finding oneself where one already is. That is just the first section of Leaving and Returning by me. You can check out my website. I'm really an artist. At least that's what I make my money doing. My website is zuccagallery.com. And if you're in Phoenix, Arizona, I have a gallery there at 1301 Grand Avenue. Anyways, this is my first live feed. We're going to go through this whole book if you care. Bring questions next session. See you later.